Hi everyone, Profeta here, bringing you a new Advanced World Wide Web replay commentary. So, today we will be reviewing a match between Go7 and me in the HFOG format. So, HFOG it's a combination of hyphens in which you receive 2,000 funds per property and with fog, in which you have limited vision over the map. So, about the map itself, you can see that it is a map with a little bit of a heavy terrain. So you can see a lot of forest here on the sides, and most important for this match is that there is a lot of plains here in the center. So you might be asking, but plains are not heavy terrain. Yeah, it is not normally considered heavy terrain, but when you play against Olaf and snow, yeah, it hurts a lot. Because you know, snow slows down units that travels on foot, like foot soldiers, and tread, like tanks, entire artillery, and the such. So it will be a hard time traversing this side of the map, the center, um, because of the snow when it comes. So that's about the map. Another thing that I could mention is the position of the airport. It is important because the airport is in the middle section of the map. So you can basically deploy an air unit and it will reach the front in like one turn. So it will see action very soon, and thus it makes air unit very important in this map. So three bases, they are a bit far from the center, so it will take a bit of time for units like infantry to start capturing the center and tanks to reach the front lines. It also has two towers. So two towers are an important aspect of the game because you can reach the magic number of 120. So why it is a magic number? Because 120 firepower means you can two-hit KO an infantry with your own infantry, everyone at full health. And also you can two-hit KO a tank in a city with two tanks hit, with everyone at full health. It's guaranteed to hit KO, something that doesn't happen in a 110 firepower setting. So in this case, the advantage that Hawke has with his day-to-day is a bit nullified in that aspect, because with two towers, Olaf can now do the same. Also, talking about the CO, Olaf has a bland day-to-day in the sense that it only makes him invulnerable to snow, but has a strong Super CO power in Winter Fury, damaging 2 HP to all enemy units and provoking to snow for the day. So it's very powerful since it is not so much expensive, and it can prove very useful as a trump card for Olaf. His normal CO power it's not much used because it only makes snow for one day, so you don't have the global damage, which is huge. But if you manage to bring out the blizzard every now and then, it can become quite a bit troublesome, as we can see in this match, as we will see in this match. So in the case of Hawke, Hawke has, as I have said, a day-to-day effect of plus 10% attack for all of his units, which is a kind of nice day-to-day ability, especially when the map has only one tower per side, because you can reach the magic number of 120 firepower. Talking about Hawke's powers, the CO power is Black Wave, in which you heal 1 HP for all your units, and all enemy units suffer 1 HP of damage. And Blackstorm, the super CO power of Hawke, in which all of your units heal by 2 HP and all enemy units suffer 2 HP of damage. So normally you want to use your super CO power with Hawke, since it is much better than its CO power, and it's not that much more expensive than the CO power. But sometimes a normal CO power from Hawke can turn tide of a battle, so it is not uncommon to actually see that too. So I have talked a lot about the map, the COs, so let's get to the match. Okay, so first days, normal things. Both of us are going to the bases. As you can see, I can reach my bases in one turn because of first turn. To deny the first turn advantage of moving first, it is a common topic on strategy games, taking turns, and there is a lot of elaboration over that topic. I'm not going to go deep with that now. So in day 2, Go7 finally reached his second base, captures his first. I can capture my 2 bases in day 2, and nothing much special. Deploying some infantries, going for cities, the closest one. You want to go for the closest cities, especially in high funds, because for going a city, a closest city for an further away city, basically you're losing 2,000 funds that turn. If it's one turn, if it's 2 turns of skipping a city that's close to you, it's 4,000 of loss that you're not receiving, basically. So my recommendation for high funds is to actually go for the closest properties first. There is an exception to that, and I am going to discuss that right away when you will see what Go7 does. So my cap phase is pretty standard, deploying infantry is going for cities, and here comes the first interesting move by Go7 by deploying an APC. So why it is important, this APC? Normally I don't like much APCs, but that's something I need to review from my gameplay, because APCs can be very important in a match, especially in high funds. And that's because if you can accelerate some caps, you receive the cost of the APC much earlier. So, for example, if you accelerate one cap in high funds, you are having 2,000 more funds compared to standard when you only receive 1,000. So basically, there is a rule of thumb where if you can accelerate at least 2 cities, the capture of 2 cities with an APC in high funds, your APC has done a very good job. But Go7 is going to do much more than that with that APC. So I am going for my cities. I deploy more infantries, nothing much special. But look at this. So Go7 has his APC in the base and has an infantry 3 spaces away from that APC. So basically he can enter the APC and go and fire it elsewhere. But also he can do something like this. He can load the infantry on the APC and then unload on the same turn and without spending the turn of that APC. So basically that infantry moved 4 spaces in one turn. And it is 3 spaces away from the port, so he can start capturing that port the next turn. So that's one property that has been accelerated in its cap phase. So very good move. And look at this. Once he has done that with the APC, he moves the APC 3 spaces away from the base to deploy an infantry, and you know what's going to happen. He's going to ferry that infantry with the APC. So he can accelerate another property. So it's already paying itself, that APC. but it will have much more repercussions than that. So more infantries, I deploy my first tank. I'm not sure if that tank is very much useful. My intention with deploying that tank was trying to scout for enemy recons and take a shot at them, but I myself am losing vision because tanks have less vision than recons. So normally in standard fog, if we will talk about something like that, normal fog, uh, normally deploying a tank is good because there will be a lot of tanks in a fog match, normal fog match. But in high fonts fog matches, you're going to see more higher tech vehicles, and normal tanks can't do anything against those. So that's a bit of a disadvantage for me, as we will see. So look at this. The APC has fulfilled its role in boosting an infantry to begin capturing the board. I can't yet. And now has ferried an infantry towards the mountain, gaining vision of all of the center of the map and the two important contested properties, and now is ready to capture this property, the 12-14 property. So nice opening, very nice opening by Go7. I'm not sure if he planned ahead the opening, probably he did, because of this incredibly clever use of transports. So I deploy my infantries, nothing much special. I go with my tank and deploy two more tanks to scout for possible enemy recons and gain some terrain advantage. But he's already capturing that property, and I have not a single unit in the vicinity that I can use to attack that infantry. Yeah, I have that infantry, but I will not be able to attack that cabin infantry. For that, I would have needed to put an infantry here or something. I don't do it, I don't know why. I think I didn't play my best here. I am not I think I am not a noob. I have some experience in the game, but you know, sometimes you may make mistakes, and it's alright as long as you can learn from them. And also I am facing the GOAT of the Hyphens Focal League that is being run in the Discord of the server. So well, things happen. And look at this. The APC has now boosted another infantry because that infantry came from the base, loaded onto the APC, and the APC loaded onto the mountain. So he can begin capturing that property in the next turn. So that's 3 properties being accelerated by that APC, along with gaining one that is contested. So as you can see, I was very conservative about my tank. Probably that was a heavy mistake, because probably I think he was going to deploy something heavy, but looking at the fonts and the income, I shouldn't have been so much conservative with my tanks. Perhaps I could have scouted out that infantry and stopped the capture of that property, but or well, I positioned my infantry. So let's see, I could have seen that infantry with the mountains. No, I couldn't have seen that infantry with an infantry of my own on the mountains. So I would have had to scout that infantry with my tank. I don't do it, and that's a bad thing for me, because he will capture that property, and I am not even close to capturing that one. So I put my infantry in range to begin capturing that city in the next turn. So I deploy a recon and another tank. Here it is probably another mistake, because I have already 3 tanks in the fray, and since I have captured my airport, I could have predicted that he has the airport too. And he's going to deploy a bicopter because, as I have said before, the air units can reach the front in one turn easily. So if you don't have your anti-air, an early anti-air, you can't zone out that bicopter. It's very hard. So that tank should have been an anti-air. So he keeps capturing some properties. He goes with his recon here in these shoals because he probably want to scout the airport, which is a massive information because if you can see that your enemy is deploying bicopters only, you can counter them easily with anti-airs. But if you see your enemy is deploying bombers, then you want to use fighters of your own, or at least be more cautious with your anti-air and probably deploy more anti-air. Uh, to counter a bomber, you at least with anti-air, you at least need two anti-airs, and they have to be protected. If one of them receives a hit from a tank and the second is destroyed by the bomber, you're screwed. You need to have at least one of them secure, so you can bait the bomber with a target. Obviously, you can't bait a bomber with a neotank because if the bomber bombs the neotank, then it has done his mission. But you can, if your enemy is reckless with bombers, you can let the bomber hit first, and for example, if the bomber hits an entire and you have a second entire in range of that first entire, you can then hit back with your entire and you're winning material advantage. That's it if you want to counter a bomber with entires. But the definite counter of a bomber is a fighter. So he deploys a bicopter, as I have said, is what a bit predictable, but I didn't play well and I don't deploy my own entire. So he goes for a neo tank, and this is a problem for me because I have only light vehicles that can do a thing against that neo tank. So here's the thing. Of course, that neo tank can't kill my four tanks in one turn. Obviously, it's impossible. But that neo tank can zone out whatever vehicle or infantry I have in the range of that neo tank. So I do need to have a counter unit for that. What better unit than a bomber, for example? Bomber are incredibly good counters to neo tanks, or you could have a neo tank of your own. But I need it now. I need it in the next turn, and I'm not sure if I actually deploy something like that. I think not. So that neo tank seems to be going to be a lot of trouble. So he deploys another recon, and that troll recon, no, that's not a troll recon, that's a Rambo recon that's going to, it's going on a mission. So let's see if it can succeed in that. So, and now there's an important thing. I tried to capture this city, so it took a lot of turns for one of my infantries to actually reach that contested property. Well, Go7 already has the property captured and the infantry available to stop that infantry in strikes. So, as I have said, the use of APC did a lot for him in this match. So I go for my properties here in the left flank. And the problem is that, okay, I have tanks in the vicinity of that infantry. It is kind of protected, but it is not. Because even if you have vehicles protecting that infantry, you want infantries of your own ready to start capturing again the city on the next turn. If you don't, and your infantry is defeated, then you will probably have a hard time trying to capture that city. So it's a good thing to have infantry connected at all times in the match, if possible, obviously. So Go7 deploys his forces going for. Okay. There's an important move here that he did again with his APC. It's incredible. That APC is the MVP of the match, really, or at least the MVP of the. Uh, let's see. I have a problem here. Let's see. Okay, day 10 of Go7. So no, let me see. Yeah. Day 9 of Go7. I skipped this move. I don't know why, but look. That same APC that boosted this infantry here in the mountain is ready to ferry another infantry from the base towards this property here, the 820 CD. So this is interesting because this base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces away. So that means a total of 4 turns for our infantry to reach that city. But with the APC transporting that infantry, you get a total of 3 plus 6 plus 1 for the unloading. So you are basically you are in range of the city. As you can see, he unloads the infantry here. So of course I counted the spaces here, but I should count probably here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's still a total of 10 turns, but with the 3 of the infantry and the 6 spaces, and he doesn't move 6 spaces actually. He moves only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it is enough to put the infantry in range of capturing that city. So it's a lot. He's boosting another capture. It's been four accelerations of cities. That APC has done a lot for Go7. So as I have said, I am trying to go for the contested property. This tank is doing nothing. Like really, he's not attacking that infantry, but it is because I don't have vision. So this is why recons are important. If I had deployed a recon the turn before instead of this tank, maybe I could have reached the front. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2. No, I can see it, but I should have deployed that recon 2 turns earlier than what I did. So I don't have vision. I can't see this. Or another thing that I could have done is what Go7 did. I could have ferried an infantry here in the mountain. I would have seen everything here, but I don't have vision of what's happening. So I only when I move the tank here, I can see that infantry, and it's too late. It's too late because I don't have anything to fight that infantry with. So he has a recon here in the forest where he can scout everything here. So that's another thing that I have against me. Now I deploy a battlecopter because, as I have said, battlecopters are good in this map. I deploy a tank and then mid tank, and probably this is a mistake too. So if I have deployed an entire here and a neo tank here with 2 infantries for going the battlecopter, I could have a better presence in the center, because this formation is easily counterable with a copter like this one. So a copter it's going to take hits on the infantry or the tanks, and I can't do a thing because I don't have my entire. And the neo tank, it's going to hurt a lot whatever I have here. That battlecopter can do cheap damage to that neo tank, but it will not stop it. So I'm in serious trouble. So the thing is that in Hyphon's fog matches, there is a higher amount of unpredictability of what your opponent is building. So maybe you have to be prepared for anything. The current meta, I'm not sure, but probably involves something like this, like going recon heavy and then going for higher tech tanks. Because if you go with a formation like this, you have no chance of against this. Your opponent has much more vision of what you're doing, and this neo tank can zone out whatever vehicle, light vehicle that you have. So it's a hard thing. Um, but this is a strategy that I plan to use. Obviously, it will not work well against the strategy that Go7 is using. So I can see this recon here with this infantry. So that's good for me. But probably he doesn't want to have vision of the airport, and probably he wants to interrupt or delay the cap of this city. So perhaps it's a good thing that I have a helicopter here because I can damage that recon. But it will come at the cost of, well, this mid tank can't do much against the neo tank. And he destroys my infantry, and I'm in trouble because I don't have another infantry to start capturing the city again, or I don't have an infantry to threaten the capture of the city. So he's controlling these two properties. And even though I have my tanks, as you can see, the neo tank and the battlecopter are coming, and this formation is not good enough against these two units. These two units alone can zone out the entirety of my army. So I am in deep trouble here. Another copter means that he is going to have air superiority. And he goes for anti-air. The Go7 turns ends. Here comes my day 10. And I'm not able to go for that city, which is bad. I'm going to start capturing this city, and well, Go7 has the possibility to finish the cap phase of those two properties here. I don't have an infantry here yet, and that's because I didn't use a transport. So I take a hit at the recon so it doesn't damage much my infantry. I take a shot at his recon, and I am glad I can destroy it. But thing is that when you start a fight, you want to actually win the consecutive fights. It's like it's when you light a dynamite or something like that. It's like chain reactions. So when you start a fight, you actually want to keep winning those fights, because if you don't, you will have to retreat, and a good player will not chase your units. A good player will take the win, regroup, and begin a bigger push the next turns. So, what does this mean? So I have defeated a recon with my tank. Good, it's a victory for me. A small victory because I sacrificed an infantry for that, or to better put it, Go7 took an infantry for me, a capping infantry, so it's very important. I put my infantries in range of that city, so I can threaten to capture it. I go for another battlecopter. Thing is that since my battlecopter took a hit at that recon, that recon basically baited that battlecopter out of the center, which is going to be bad for me. And that is because since I don't have an anti-air here in the vicinity of the center, and he has a battlecopter of his own, he can take shots at my tanks unpunished. So you may think, okay, Profeta did a well job. He shot a recon here with his battlecopter. You may think it's a favorable trade, but actually it's not. So those are things that some advanced players do, and you have to be careful about, because not all engagements, even though if you have unit advantage, not all of those engagements are good, if they put you in a worse position in the map. So as you can see, he took 5 damage for a recon, but I can't do anything against his battlecopters. So this would have been a better hit if I actually had an entire. Yeah, if having an entire here, for example, instead of the tank or something, yeah, that hit on the recon would have been good. But thing is, here's the thing: if you know you don't have entire defenses, probably, and I thought a lot about this. I didn't go blindly into taking a hit at that recon, but in the end, even if I had the thought of going with my battlecopter and ignoring that recon, going into the center with the battlecopter so I could counter that battlecopter of Go7, actually didn't do it. I can justify why, because the recon is alive, so he can put it back if he wants to um, make use of it later, and or it can still delay the gap of this property. So in the end, it wasn't a good move. But mistakes happen, and the good thing is that you can learn from them. So not all engagements, even if they seem favorable, are good. If they put you at a disadvantage in the map, that's something you can learn from that. And he delays the capture of that city, which is bad for me. It's 2,000 funds less for me. It's a lot. So he uses again the APC. That APC does a lot. It's doing a lot because now he doesn't need a recon here to have vision, even though he has one. So that recon can go here or whatever he can do with that recon. Probably he wants to keep harassing my infantries, but as vision comes, this infantry is doing the job. This infantry is already doing the job. So that's about it. And here's the thing: the battlecopter takes a shot at my tank, and the neo tank finishes. And here you see why my formation was weak, because if I had this battlecopter in the center or an earlier anti-air, I could have shot down the anti-air, and if I could have deployed the neo tank instead of this mid tank and this useless tank, because this tank is doing practically nothing, I could have taken a shot at his neo tank. So you see, this mid tank doesn't reach the neo tank in time to actually do something. He doesn't have a bomber. Even if he had a bomber here, it doesn't reach the neo tank. He cannot defend it. So I did a lot in Go7's favor. But he played very well, obviously. But I made a lot of mistakes too, as you can see. So he deploys a bomber as was expected, because he was expecting me to use a neo tank or something. So bomber are good counters for them. So continuing on the match, I destroy the recon, which is good. You always want to destroy recons, not leave them injured, because recons, even though if they are injured, they can keep scouting for you, or for the enemy in this case. So even a 1 HP recon is incredibly useful still, even though it's damaged, because it can still scout for you. So you want to kill recons when you have the chance. So the good thing I do with my tanks here is to wipe out a recon and go for the city. This is a little basic strategy, but in case you want to learn about it, you basically you want to do a 3 movement here when you are threatening to capture a city or an enemy city. You want to 2-hit KO a unit on the city and then start capturing. That's a basic strategy that you maybe can put in practice. It's very basic, but it's important to know about it, because if for example that infantry wasn't in the vicinity 3 spaces away from the city, this, this attack would have been a lot less fruitful for me, because okay, I destroy the recon, but if I don't have anything to put on that city, those 2 tanks are very vulnerable from attacks from these spaces and an attack from the city, which is also an enemy city, so it will hurt a lot. Now, how do you counter this kind of attack? Well, you have to destroy whatever is on the city. Thing is that this strategy suffers a little. The 2-hit KO and the infantry capping. It suffers from a bit weakness, and that is that if that infantry gets 2-hit KO, then your tanks are vulnerable here. So you have to take that into account too. As I said, you want to win battles in a chain reaction. So when I did this, I had to make sure I had countermeasures available. So for example, I have a copter, I have my entire in range of the 2 tanks. I have an entire here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, guarding these entires. I have a mid tank, but I don't have something that is very important for me. I'm not sure if I have. Yeah, I could see the big the neo tank. But I don't have any counter for the neo tank here, so that's a weakness again in my formation, and that makes the chain reaction or chain attacks bad for me, because that neo tank will be able to sit on that city, destroy one of my tanks, and I won't be able to do much. So that's bad for me. Even though if I had deployed a bomber, it can reach that position in time. So it's a bad thing for me. So day 12 rolls in, and as I have said, 2-hit KO on that infantry and an attack from the city. That's how you counter a push like the one I did. So again, you want to win the chain attacks. Another copter, so I am in trouble here. So look at this formation. He has 2 copters and a neo tank. So I can counter one of the copters with my entire, the second copter with my battle copter, but he has an entire ready to punish my battle copter. So again, it's the chain attacks, as if we could name it that way. So he also has a bomber. Even if I had a neo tank to take a shot at that at his neo tank, he already has a bomber available to win that win the counter attack. So good formation from Go7. Another boost here, and this boost is, it may not seem very interesting, but it is. Look at this. This infantry comes from, I guess it comes from here. I'm not sure, but whatever. It is here. That's the thing. So the APC was here in the empty missile silo. He drops the infantry from the mountain to here to attack my my own infantry, and now puts the APC 3 spaces away from this infantry, and can now boost the movement of that infantry 1 space more, and put his infantry 2 spaces away from the mountain. This is huge. Why? Because in the next turn he will be able to put that infantry in the mountain and gain vision of the center again with an infantry, no less. So he doesn't need a recon to have vision of what's happening. Of course, he now has an entire army here, so he has vision of what's happening here. But even if he loses his copters, for example, he has that strategy available to put that infantry there in the mountain. So he goes for the capture of that city. goes for another neo tank and an entire. So I am in deep trouble here, because a second neo tank means that I need a bomber right away. I don't have time for neo tanks here. So Recon takes a shot at his infantry. I put myself an infantry here to have a scout here of what's happening, and look at me, I can see the bomber. So here probably it is a little mistake or an imprecision from Go7. If he had put the bomber here, I wouldn't have seen it. And because I can see the bomber now, I am sure to deploy a fighter. I am going for that fighter because I needed to counter that bomber. Because I only have one entire, and I have said if you need to counter a bomber with entires, you need at least two, and one of them has to be obviously in range of the front entire, but also needs to be safe, to be at full health. If it is damage, it won't do much. You can attack with that, of course, but it won't be as effective. So I am delaying the cap of my property, so with a recon, and that's much. And he goes for Winter Fury. So let's see. Wait. No, here's the. Yeah. Okay. Here's the. No, wait. We were here. Yeah, we were here. So I take a shot at his infantry, put myself the infantry on the mountain, destroy his recon, go with my own recon to trying to stop the cap of that. Look at this. I use my entire and my battlecopter to destroy one battlecopter of Go7 and severely cripple one of his. So yeah, I think, well, I did a well counter punch because I destroyed two copters. That's I would think, but the thing is that he has Hawke countermeasures here available, and the thing is that he's going to have Winter Fury available, as you have seen, because I made a spoiler. Sorry about that, but he will have Winter Fury, which is it's going to be so annoying. Not because of the damage. One thing that Winter Fury is good is because of the global damage. It's huge. But against Hawke is said to be the counter of Olaf in high funds or standard or whatever mode, because you can counter Winter Fury with your own Super Seal power. But in this case, no. What I mean with no is that I will counter the damage, but not Snow. Snow will be a pain in the ass, honestly. So he can ferry an infantry here, so this is a bold move, because he doesn't care to put his APC here. He wants to gain vision and puts his infantry on my mountain. So that penguin here, it's a brave penguin, and does a lot for him, I think. He gains vision of what I have. He doesn't see the neo tank, but it doesn't matter because he has a bomber here, and he has a neo tank. He has a neo tank and a bomber. That's the thing. He can take a shot at my neo tank with either of the two, so it will be hard for me. He can even dare to attack an entire with his bomber, erasing it from the face of the planet. And that neo tank has already destroyed 3 of my tanks, which is, it's so annoying. Because okay, if a neo tank destroy one of your tanks, it's expected. But three tanks destroyed by one single neo tank, it's because you're not countering that neo tank well. Something you are not deploying in time to actually go for that neo tank. So as I said, that battlecopter did a lot of damage to his battlecopter, but he had an entire in time there to punish my battlecopter. So he sacrifices. Here is an interesting thing. So he sacrifices his battle copter here to gain some vision, I guess, or whatever. I'm not sure about it, but it's okay. This is a troll move, honestly. Uh, no, it's not a troll move. Now I remember what he did. He's 1,700 away from Winter Fury, and he wants top of it now. Why? Because he knows his bomber is 9 spaces away from the airport. He knows I scouted that bomber with my infantry here, so he has to do something to protect the bomber. And the only protection available to that bomber right now, it's Winter Fury, the snow. Because now the snow slows down, my fighter can't reach the bomber. This fighter goes down from 9 movement to 4 movement, which is cripples the fighter a lot. I won't be able to take a shot at that bomber, which is a heavy loss for me. So he's winning the battle in the center. And also he has income advantage, which both combined are pretty huge for him. So he goes a second bomber, more recons, and anti-air. He goes anti-air because obviously I am deploying a lot of air units, which is bad for me. Thing is that this map tends to favor Olaf a lot, because since air units, you need air units because they are so close to the front to counter the heavier air units of your opponent and to counter the heavy tanks of your opponent too. But the snow is one of the best entire tools that you can use. So it will be hard for me to fight that kind of air force with my crippled air force. So I take a shot at his neo tank with my mid tank, a 5-5 trade, which is okay value wise. But here comes my Black Storm, and Black Storm it's actually an incredible Super Zero power. So it makes that trade from 5-5 to 7-3 in my favor, which is huge. It is a lot, because that Neo tank with 5 could have severely damaged my mid tank with 5 HP, but now a 3 Neo tank against a 7 mid tank, it's not a good attack. So yeah, I take a hit on his Neo tank with my own battlecopter. I can't actually destroy it. It would have been a good thing, but because now he can retrieve that Neo tank and repair or something. So the thing about repairing units, there are some people out there that don't like repairing units, but I tend to try to. I put myself in this position. If I can repair a unit, I will do it. I will always do it, except if I have a better use for that damaged unit than repairing it. So I can use it as a block, to scout, to do something, but normally I want to repair units. And why is that? Because unit count is one of the best indicators if you're winning a battle. Because even though if you have a bit less, not much less, a bit less of unit value, if you have, for example, more infantry or more damage units, you can use them to block the enemy push. So he has less angles for attack, he has to divert more of his full HP units to deal with those damage units. And then you can counter with your own healed units. So look at this. The infantry is severely crippled in its movement. This infantry can only move one space away, which is it's sad. This infantry here in planes can only move. I think it can only move one space too. Let's see. It can only move one space in planes, but good for me. I have a bridge here and a road, but when an infantry moving 3 spaces to moving 1 in planes, it's ridiculous. It's something. Snow is terrible. Obviously, 1 turn with snow, it's not so terrible. You can regroup or whatever. But you are going to see some never-ending winter that is Well, against never-ending winter, it's ridiculous. I can destroy his infantry, which is good. And I deploy entire and 2 tanks. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if I could have done something better with my funds. Let's see. I have 27. I need an entire, so there's not much to that. And once I deploy my entire, I don't have enough funds for a neo tank, which is something I would have liked to deploy. So I go for tanks to counter his entire or infantries. But what I needed was a neo tank. A neo tank and an entire. I need the entires because I have a fighter, but that fighter alone can't do something against bombers if it's going to be crippled by snow. I need more than that. But I didn't have enough funds, so that's it. He does a troll attack here, attacking my tank from mountain. Not a good attack, but whatever. He's winning, so he can do some some things like that. Those troll penguins like to go for stroll there and do his things. So here he destroyed one of my battlecopters. Yeah, this hurts a lot too. Because even though it's a 7 HP copter, this copter could have harassed some of his infantry or to something. No, that entire completely destroyed. It's out of the match. And the Neo Tank goes back for repairs. He deploys his second bomber here. He goes for this is incredible. He goes Rambo here with his recon to destroy an infantry, which is not the most important thing. No, he doesn't even. Let's see. He doesn't. No, he attacks the infantry. Sorry, he attacks the infantry. But the thing that he does here is actually gain vision of my army here. So whatever he can see and he cannot see. So I mean, whatever it is here and what is not here is information valuable to him. So he sees I don't have a neo tank here, but he sees the entire. So against entire, probably the best counter value-wise is light tank. So probably he wants to begin deploying light tanks to counter those entire. So here the chain attacks are going bad for me. Good for me. I have a fighter in range of that bomber, so probably he was a bit reckless here with his units because he destroyed. I'm not sure what he destroyed with the bomber, but it wasn't a big target if I remember right. Yeah, but he has control of the center anyways, so it is battle is progressing well for him. I can finally take a shot at his bomber with my fighter, which is good, even though it was damaged, but anyways, it's a good hit anyway. I begin destroying some of his units. That entire destroys the recon, which is good. I destroyed that entire, but he already has 2 entires here, so he knows this map is very air favorable. So he deploys the entires to compensate, obviously that fact. So he's preparing well his army composition, which is something you have to do. You need to have, especially in high funds fog matches, you need to have the specific counter for the specific unit. You need to have your fighter for the bombers, you need to have bombers for the neo-tanks or neo-tanks and neo-tanks of your own. That is important in fog too. Normal fog matches, you need to have enough vehicles in a zone to counter an enemy push, but in normal fog, the unit composition is a bit more, it's a bit less. It's more homogeneous. That's the thing. You have more light tanks, some mid tanks, artillery, recons, infantry, of course, but you don't normally see much neo tanks, bombers, fighters, some of the higher tech units. So it's a little easier to counter your enemy army. So let's see, a bomber of my own, tank and entire. So he takes a shot at my infantry. Here he deletes my Neotank, which is bad for me. Because, okay, here's the thing. So you may see this army and say, okay, Profeta has an interesting army here, but he has the specific counter to the specific unit of my army in place. Bomber deletes Neotank. Entire deletes my battle counter. Neotank approaches the front. That Neotank that survived here probably is going for reverse. Yeah, he's going. He joined the two injured Neotanks. He joined there. Probably that was a bug or something. But he has an entire in range to attack my fighter. So Neotank deleted. Fighter crippled. Bad thing for me. I don't have an entire in range to attack that bomber. Even if I had a fighter, you know what will happen next. Look at that CO meter, you know what's going to happen next. So what's going to happen is not Winter Fury. And here becomes the interesting strategy that made me do this video. Here comes the never-ending winter. So he activates Blizzard, not Winter Fury. He doesn't have enough CO meter for Winter Fury. So he goes for Blizzard instead. But that Blizzard just cripples a lot my army. So I do what I can here. I take a shot at his bomber with my fighter to actually cripple it a little bit. But look at this bomber, it's pathetic. This bomber is like weighing a lot. It's like it's carrying a cargo of, I don't know, 1,000 of elephants or something. I'm not sure, but it can only move 3 spaces. It's pathetic that bomber can't do a thing this turn. And next turn, it will not be able to zone out Neotanks in this zone or whatever. It is just too far away. And that's the powers of Snow. Snow just cripples your movement a lot, especially in a map like this. And against air unit. As I have said, Snow is one of the best anti-air tools you can use. So I don't do much interesting moves here. Day 16 comes for Go7. I try to go for the city, but I don't have enough firepower to actually back that city cap. Normally you want to have an artillery in place to defend that cap. That's one of the best push you can do, threatening enemy cities, to go with an infantry and indirect support, but I don't have it. So he goes with a recon, and that troll penguin there, that troll penguin wants to shine. He wants to capture that tower or do something or put some pressure on me. I'm not sure if it will achieve its mission, but whatever, it's there, trolling. So more shots, an entire, look at this. He dares to take a shot at an infantry with his entire. He's like, okay, I'm sacrificing that infantry, I don't care. He goes, this is another, it's just he's playing Rambo here. So a bomber takes a shot at a recon, and he's exposing his bomber to the vicinity of my airport. As you can see, my airport is less than 9 spaces away. I have a fighter, but he doesn't know that. So even if he doesn't know that I have a fighter, he's going there. He doesn't care, and you can see why. You look at the CO meter. You can predict what's going to happen now. Look at that fighter. He can fly in the sky like an eagle. He doesn't care. But my air units are like, I'm not sure. They are, the pilots are drunk or something. No, it's the snow. I'm not going to shame my pilots. It's the freaking snow that's slowing them down. So look at this. This fighter doesn't reach the bomber. The best thing I can do is put it here. I don't put the fighter in this mountain or something, because it will be exposed to something like another fighter, or worse, an entire So here I can see the entire with this tank and recons. Obviously, I'm not going to expose that fighter, but that fighter can't accomplish his mission. That was to counter the bomber. It can't with snow. So I move my units, try to group them for the snow to pass, because I know that pushing in the snow is a bad thing. He has all of the counter units there to punish my army if I put them in dangerous way. So obviously I'm not going to do that. Here probably another mistake. I shouldn't have gone for copter and mid tank. I should have gone for neo tank. I needed more neo tanks here because I have some roads here that I could use. And neo tanks move 3 spaces in plains, and there's some shoals here and cities that I could have used. But bombers, I mean copters, only move 3 spaces in whatever terrain they traverse, because they are air units, so it will be a hard time for my air units to actually move in the map. So he moves his army. He's regrouping. It is something interesting in his strategy here. So he knows he doesn't have the CO meter to bring out the storm here, this snowstorm. So he's not going to put his units in dangerous way. Obviously, he doesn't have the snow to back up his attack. So he's regrouping them. He's just putting them back. Some repairs here for his neo tanks. As I have said, it is good. It is a good thing to repair units, especially if they have a 7 HP or even 5 HP units are pretty fine to repair. That's because of 2 reasons. One is unit count, as I have explained before, and the other good reason to repair units it's because these units are already on the front. So when they get repaired, they can actually go and do something. If you don't repair them and save those funds for something, it may depend on what you want to do with those funds. But a unit in a base here far away from the front, it's not as good as a unit that is being repaired here in the front, that can do something in one turn. So I do recommend repairing when available. Of course, you have to see the state of the match. It's not like you have to think about it. It's not like rules are there to be followed blindly. You have to think the situation of the match. So he finally puts a recon there to scout my airport, which is huge for him. He can see that I have a battlecopter, so he deploys an entire. It is a good thing to have a recon there. So in this map, I do recommend trying to go for the long way with a recon and scout the airport. Because if I had scouted the airport, I could have used a fighter. But normally, I could have deployed a fighter. But now I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. If I see air units, probably I want to use entires and save the money for neo tanks or something, because my air units just can't do much in snow. Oh, well, I decide to attack, I have to interrupt the cuts. Here's some important strategic aspect of putting the infantry there. So I'm going to go fast with the turn because I have already reviewed it, but there's something that I missed and I have to discuss. Even though he retreats his vehicles and air units, he puts 2 infantries on my properties and begin capturing them. So why is that important? Because when you don't have infantries of your own to counter these kind of attacks, these kind of threats, really, you have to use your vehicles. You have to expose your vehicles. That's the correct word. You expose your vehicles. And why is that important? Because a good player will punish that. So as you can see, I am putting my tank and my copter in harm's way. So you see, even though I have a recon here scouting out this entire zone, and well, this entire is in a forest, so it's hidden, I don't see it. I could have predicted that. He had an entire in the vicinity, but it doesn't matter. I have to use something to stop the caps. So I go for tank infantry to actually kill. And this is something that, as I have said, it is not a very good attack, but I don't have much to do here, because normally you want to hit KO a unit in a city and put something in said city. That's a good attack. And a better attack than that is to actually put an indirect unit behind those and protect the unit in the city. But well, you can do that when you have the units. If you don't have the units, you can do that, obviously. So I move my recons here. I do something of what I said. I put my recon there to have something on the city, so he doesn't take a hit in my tank on the city. But a recon doesn't have much defense. It's a bit weak for that effect. But what they can do with a recon is scout these two units, a battlecopter and a bomber. So, what would you do in this situation? You have a fighter in range, and there's a bomber that you want to hit. Like it's like the pilots on that fighter are like pleading me, please let me destroy that bomber. We were born to do this. Yeah, of course, and I am going to do that. But Go7 can use that to his advantage, because look at this. Blizzard now costs 43,200, which is seems a lot, but since we are playing a high funds match in that aspect, it's a high funds with fog, but it's high funds nonetheless. CO meter gets charged so fast because an 8 HP bomber, it's let me see my maths. It's 20% less than be like 19,800 or something like that. Let's see. So yeah, it's now let's see. It's oh, my math are terrible right now. It's 22,000 less 4,400, so that would be it's something like 17,600 if I'm not no, I want to do the calculation. I can't give up on that. I will do the calculation. I can't give up on that. So let's see. It's 22,000. You have to multiply by 0.8. Yeah, I was right. I managed to do it. It's 17,600. So, but it's 17,600 that goes straight to the CO meter. So, look at that. Now it's so close to popping up Blizzard that, you know it's coming. And you know it's coming because not only he has gained the value of that bomber, of that 8 HP bomber to his CO meter, but because now that countering that fighter adds a total of 10,000 to the CO meter. Remember that when you attack an enemy unit, you gain half the value of the damage that you do. So fighters are worth 20,000 funds. So 10,000 funds if you destroy the fighter. Go straight to your CO meter. So I have the super CO power in range, but it won't do much if I have to face. No, it will not do much. So he destroys my recon with his neo tank. Look at this attack. He dares put his neo tank in range of my airport again, and this bomber it's just so far from here. It's not going to be enough to attack that neo tank. So you see, He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's he can't scout my bomber with his recon, but it doesn't matter. I think he's taking his chances. He doesn't think I have something of a bomber or something in the vicinity to actually attack that neo tank. So if this mid tank were a neo tank, it would have been a lot better for me because I can reach that position even in snow, because in roads are not affected by snow. So in a map that has a lot of roads, Olaf is a bit nerfed. No, it's a lot nerfed because snow will not be as effective. So look at this. This is what I meant with the chain attacks. So I attack the infantries. I defeated 2 infantries at the cost of a battlecopter, a recon, and I don't remember what else. But I am sure it was a lot. And look at this, Blizzard, and my next attack, my counter attack will not be as effective. Because I can't counter effectively that neo tank. I can destroy the entire, and I will do it with the help of my Super Zero Power. But he puts a bomber in the center, so it's a hard thing for me. He puts neo tanks in the center. He has a 9 HP neo tank there, so I'm in trouble. I'm seriously in trouble here. So I think I activate my Super Zero Power right away. Let's see, I attack. I do some attacks first. I want to heal that tank before I activate my Super Zero Power. So I activate my Super Zero Power because I wanted plus 10 and plus 10 attack and defense before going with my mid tank, and obviously to cripple it a bit before I attack, because his own units are plus 10 attack. That's another thing that activating Blizzard every now and then it gives Olaf an advantage here, in that activating that power gives him 10 plus attack and defense, which is a lot, because the 10 attack it's something, but the 10 defense it makes a lot more harder to kill enemy units. But anyways, I activate my Super Zero Power and I can compensate for that. So let's see. There's a common knowledge in fog matches that you want to actually have a death ball of units and go for a super push in one zone of the map. So I know I can't do that because I can't group my units in one place because of the snow. So I try to counter that with some threats and in other sides of the map. So he has to divert some of his units to this zone to prevent me from capturing his cities. And I have some backup units there to defend that infantry. So let's see if I can actually do something there. So these bombers can too much in this turn, so I go stubbornly for another bomber because I have the hope that he's not going to activate Blizzard so often now, because the more you use a power, the more it costs in the match. So I am hoping he reaches a point where he can't activate as often the Blizzard. But in high fonts that doesn't matter much. It's 48,600. It's not a lot. It's so little because you can sack a neo tank and you have nearly reached there. So he will be activating blizzards like it's nothing. So that I think this is the same APC from the beginning. It's doing his job again. It's incredible. So no, this is just a flex. No, wait, it's not a flex. It's an incredible move again, because that infantry, it's 3 spaces away from that mountain, but mountain costs 2 movement to climb it. So that infantry can't reach the mountain and have vision of my units. this small move, you might see, it's something like irrelevant. No, it's a lot. It's doing a lot with that APC. Look at that. He gains vision from all of these units. From my tank, a mid tank, an entire, and two infantries. He can't see my bomber because I placed it 6 spaces away from the mountain. So he couldn't scout it, but anyways, he can scout. With that simple move, he can scout a portion of my army. So look at this recon. This recon is a hero. This recon is scouting my 2 bombers. It's that strategy is so good that I thought of it myself, but much later in the game. It's not going to be as effective if I have done it earlier. So look at his strategic view of the game again. He knows he's not going to have snow this turn, and he's facing +10 attack and defense units. So why would he attack? There's no rush in attacking. He's just grouping his units, forming kind of a death ball here in the center. So and why is that? Because he doesn't have snow. He wants to prepare for a good attack. He sees I am coming here, so he's probably trying to defend that zone of the map. And he also knows those bombers doesn't have a target. These bombers are doing nothing. These bombers are sitting idle. So I see some of his units and I say, well, let's take a shot of some of his units. So I have a bomber in place to attack a Neo-Tank. I want to do it. Bombers are there to bomb Neo-Tank. But this is something actually that Go7 probably planned ahead, because as I have said, so every little attack I do, like a bomber attacking a Neo-Tank, which seems favorable, it's just filling his CO meter. So he can practically sack that Neo-Tank for the greater good, for the Penguin army, and that greater good is bringing the snow. So that's probably a strategy that Go7 planned ahead, to have these little brawls like that bomber attacking a Neo-Tank. So I don't attack a substantial part of his army. I only killed a Neo-Tank, but that is enough for him to fill his CO meter up to the point of activating Blizzard the next turn. So as you can see, the bombers are going for blood, but snow is coming and they are just not close enough. So this bomber is actually close to these tanks. So I think, well, now I know I have to have a bomber 3 spaces away from what I want to protect with the bomber, because in snow that's how far they will move. Not more than that, but it will not be enough. So a fighter takes out the bomber. So even though he sacrificed probably that Neo-Tank to fill the CO meter for Blizzard, he has the counter unit. He still has the counter unit to punish that bomber. He's not giving the Neo-Tank for free. And also has a bomber here to attack my mid-tank. And he attacks my... that was a bug. Yeah, an 8 HP bomber will not kill a mid-tank in a 3-star terrain, I mean. But that Neo-Tank does destroy my tank. And now that Helicopter attacks my mid-tank, it is not yet destroyed. It is a bug that is not appearing here. He takes a shot at my recon. That recon is scouting like hell, because now he wants to scout my base. It's huge. This recon is huge. He's scouting my airport and now my base. So at one point on the match, I think I saw this. I am not sure how I saw this, because I am going to put the tank here to shoo that recon out of there. But he has Blizzard available. he's attacking my units, take a shot at my tank, and look at here, he has a lot of units here in the center. It's like a death ball. So he wants to block my airport by putting his battlecopter there, and he could have probably succeeded there, if not because of I have an entire. So, I mean, I have an entire here hidden in the forest that he cannot scout with whatever unit he has here. So that's my I am safe there by this entire. But this is interesting because let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it doesn't reach an entire here doesn't reach the airport. So, but he moves his units. He puts another bomber in the fray. Some light tanks, and this is important because now that he has enough high-tech units like fighter and neo tank to bombers and some copters, well copters are not high-tech, but they can check the neo tanks and mid tanks. He has deployed a very good amount of light tanks, and probably he wants to wipe out all of my light units with his tanks, and that pretty much seals the match, as you will see now. So he pushed all of his units here with a blizzard, and it's my turn under the snow. So I think I will attack his units because I have to do something against this massive amount of units. I have to do something, and I think, okay, he has his power activated. He has 16,200 left in the bank. So I think if I attack now and destroy his units, for example that battlecopter, and I attack one of his tanks, I destroy some of his infantries, the bomber I take. Finally I can take a shot at one of his bombers with my anti-air. That's very satisfying to do. I'm trying to fill up my own CO meter bar. I destroy one of his copters. This seems to be going a little well for me. I have 2 bombers here that sadly they can't reach one of the neo tanks, sadly, because that would have been huge. But I am attacking, so let's go. Let's fill my own CO meter. I don't think he will be able to bring up the snow 2 consecutive turns, but things are going to work different for me. So day 21, and he does the death punch by entire, by tank, well, it's 1 HP, but he will destroy it with something. Let's see, by infantry, by entire, no, it's 2 HP, now yeah, by entire, by recon, 1 HP, and by recon, yeah. His scouts, no, he attacked something, let's see, okay, I had a mid tank, by mid tank, and look, that battlecopter scouted the bomber I had here, and he takes a shot with his fighter, and that fills his CO meter a lot, and goes for an attack on my infantry. He needs a little more to go for blizzard, and he will be able to push that button. Let's see. So attack my anti-air, attacks my second anti-air, and with this sack of his recon, he has enough meter to activate blizzard, and that's the end of the match. That's the end of the match, basically, because this bomber cannot do something, because if it wasn't for snow, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I destroy the copter with the anti-air, I could have taken a shot at that neo tank, but in the snow it's not possible. So bye bye. I can't do anything. My army is severely crippled, destroyed at this point. Even though I have the super seal power, there's nothing much I can do now. He has destroyed a lot of my units, and that's no. It was the MVP of the match. The Blizzard made a lot of damage to my plans, and well, it means the end of the match. GG to Go7, a very well played match, and a new strategy has been revealed to our eyes. So you can actually spam Blizzard against Hawke and do a lot of damage to his army. But I have to say that it works because of more factors than only spamming Blizzard. It's not just spamming Blizzard. So in this match, what things made Go7 win? A better cap phase because of the use or the well use of the APC of transports. So that gave him a lot of funds compared to my own economy. He had an income advantage over all of the course of the match because of controlling the center properties because of a better phase due to the transports, and the map itself. The map itself helps a lot. This strategy of spamming Blizzard because you know you need air units because of the position of the airport to counter neotank, to counter bombers with fighters, but against snow it's very hard to use air units. So if I had to do this match again, I would have to use a different strategy. If I know I am going to face an Blizzard spamming Olaf, I would have to use another strategy. Air units are out of the equation, probably. I wouldn't use them. And I would have to go land units heavy. And what I think that I will need to do too is to avoid little burrows. Because those little burrows will allow Go7. Well, I am planning my my rematch in my head, but I'm not sure if I have the time. But I would want to try again this kind of match. But against any Olaf player that would spam Blizzard, I would have to change strategy, as I have said. Probably I would have to avoid the little bros if I want to play Hawke again, or any Hawke would have to avoid those little bros that charge the CO meter in a way that it's not enough to charge your own CO meter to activate Blackstorm, but it's enough for Olaf to activate Blizzard every now and then. There was a point in the match that he activated Blizzard like, how do you say it? One day there was snow, one day was not snow, so he regrouped, and the next day snow again. You know what I mean. But these last 2 turns he was able to activate Blizzard 2 consecutive turns, which is huge. It's a lot. So I will have to try to mass a lot of units, stall the match a bit probably. For that I will need to have at least equal income advantage. So if I had to play again this map, I will have to use the opening that Go7 did. It's a very good opening on this match. You know, in this map I mean. If you happen to play in a map like this, go for transports. Go for them. And how can you know if you need transports in a map like this? Probably you, if you're playing high funds, go transports. They will pay themselves. If you accelerate at least 2 cities, you are going to receive your funds back. And when cities are like 7 spaces away or 10 spaces away from your bases, it may be a good idea to use transport. Because, for example, this city here that he accelerated in the early phase of the match, he reached that city in 2 turns. So if you didn't use a transport, it would have needed a full 4 turns to actually begin capturing that city. So it's already 4,000 funds that you're winning by just doing that. So my advice would be that you probably need to study the map a bit before going into the cap phase. That's one thing. So well, thank you for watching the match. It was a very interesting match. I had a lot of fun, even though I lost. I learned a lot. I hope to use that knowledge now in my next matches. And thank you all for coming. I hope to see you again in another replay commentary. So see you soon.